Oh, it's Zen time.
Zen me up.
Oh snap! It's Zen time.
What are these ones?
And cigar.
So,
are these peppermint?
These are spearmint.
Those are cool mint.
Ooh, cool.
Yes.
Cool mints aren't bad. I got the spearmint ones over here.
You want? I was saying, do you want to Zen?
Oh, dude, I'm already Zen.
Oh, never mind, bro.
Okay,
you're on your game.
Yeah, hell yeah, I am. Yeah, I always pop one in before an episode.
Okay, so I'm thinking during this crusade that we're a part of, right? Because we're collaborating with the Wrong Show, and they're on their Twitch stream. They're doing the crusade. I want to see how many of us, what the leaderboards are looking like in correlation to who uses Zen at the end of this. That's all I'm saying. I think there's going to be a strong correlation because once again, Zen is the secret to success. Is like
keeps your mind focused.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it do. Yes, it does. And if you can find the spearmint, by all means, go for it. That is the treasure trove right there.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
Oh, cool.
Spearmint's pretty solid.
So today we have to hope we don't get our first.
Oh, we might get a strike today.
We have to make sure we don't get any strikes today, and it's going to be really hard.
Isn't there like a clause or something you can use like okay, when it comes to music, for instance, you can use the first 30 seconds of a fucking song or something like that?
No. I'm pretty sure that's what Kanye's going through right now, cause with the whole fucking him and Ozzy Osbourne thing, because he used like 30 seconds of a fucking soundbite of like live War Pigs or something.
Huh. Interesting.
And now fucking
yeah,
Ozzy Osbourne's like, oh, I married a I am a so you can't use my music, so.
Oh, that's weird. Well, there goes the strike right there. You just mentioned a certain class of people and not a good light.
Dude,
I don't know.
Do I gotta like bleep out now?
Yeah,
probably.
Let's go ahead and just get off this topic real quick. We'll have to reconvene with Danny and Alvin.
Kanye did nothing wrong anyways.
Show. And
Kanye 2024.
Yeah, baby.
There, I said
no. Let's just...
Official Serpents Lodge endorsement.
All right, folks, this has been the final episode of Serpents Lodge. We have been canceled.
There better be a shitpost meme right here where I'm talking about. There better be a Kanye shitpost meme like Kanye is Jesus above my head.
Yeah, we'll have to reconvene with the guys in the Wrong Show and see about that because they know about the strikes. They know about
them.
All this stuff. Yeah, they have been a
huge help for this podcast.
Oh yes, they have. Yeah, if you haven't checked them out yet, check out the Wrong Show on Twitch. They stream pretty much every day except for Tuesdays.
It seems like every day.
Yeah, it seems like every day because there's times Wednesday, where they're like, oh, we don't have anything scheduled, and it's like surprise stream, and it's like, oh, okay.
Their regular schedule I think is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday for Warhammer.
Yes.
Tabletop Sundays because they do Warhammer one week and then they do the D&D the other week.
Yeah. So if you want to check them out on the Warhammer days, it'll be by the time this goes up, it'll be the Sunday after that.
But you can catch the episode before that on their previously viewed.
Yes, you can. They do D&D every other Sunday as well. So
I'm sure they also support Kanye.
Next weekend will be a D&D day on their Sunday, the 25th, as of this recording, and then the following Sunday, so the 3rd of March, will be another Warhammer day. So
come catch us. We're playing in the Crusade. Come root for your boys.
We are.
You are now listening to Heresy FM. This ain't your commissar station.
Anywho, so today we're talking about the Emperor's Children.
On to horny posting.
All right.
I love
Pornhub music.
I love the Emperor's Children. I just want to go ahead and start this off. I absolutely love the Emperor's Children. I don't care what anybody says.
I love how freaking wild they are.
Even though like half of their fan base is absolute fucking sexual degenerates.
Yeah. Man, we got like the with Dark Angels and this going on. Okay.
Fucking Groot is gonna be the one to break the Emperor's Children stigma.
Fair.
I am a God's fearing. Okay, I already fucked up. God damn it!
All right,
you're an emperor fearing.
I'm an emperor fearing, monogamous, fucking patriotic man.
For Emperor's Children 2024.
Yeah.
Fulgrim 2024.
Now it's going to be us, Wrong Show, and fucking the Emperor's Children, Fruit and Kanye.
Fuck yeah.
Oh snap! Yeah,
So-
dude. Emperor's Children are in. I mean, it all started out with the perfection, just the OCD perfection of everything, and then it devolved into how wildly.
How many tits can I have on my chest?
Ironically, yes.
Also, can I put
Yeah.
tits anywhere else on my body?
The
It
answer is
stopped.
yes.
It stopped being about perfection and started being about prostitution, sexual. I don't know, man. It's
Prostitution, prosecution.
How many
Yeah.
demon dick lady girlfriends can I have?
I don't
Yeah.
know. Iron loser. And guys, you
God.
missed.
That's
Get
next,
another.
that's next episode.
dude. That's the
That is the next day. Oh, God. Oh.
dude. That is the only Legion that completely did a 180. You know that?
Yeah.
EC or
EC.
EC.
I assume so.
Yeah. Complete
Did a
180
one-
from what
did
they
a-
used to be
Did a 180 on one page.
in one book, dude.
One page they did a 180.
Which page are you referring to?
The opera.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
They were
Fair
they
enough.
were kind of reaching the border, but the second that the opera happened,
Oh,
See?
yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't have been an issue if they listened to Kanye.
so back to the perfection thing. Let's
No, they decided to listen to Lady Gaga instead.
we'll reel it back. So
Okay.
as we had said, we had already talked about the emperor and losing children. We already know about all that. This is number 3 here.
Whoa. We're out of order. What happened to number 2?
Redacted.
Redacted.
Okay. Understood.
Redacted. Nothing but beeps.
Okay. Understood.
Nothing but beeps.
I'm
No
not
skip.
inserting that. That's very annoying to listen to. I'm not doing
That entire
We'll t-
episode would be one long beep.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that when we talk about the Space Wolves.
Okay.
That entire episode is looking at the the release the unclassified documents of Area 51. It's just
Yeah,
the
pretty
Good
much.
luck. There's nothing there.
I was
Yeah,
gonna,
there's a
I'm
bunch
gonna
of
put an episode
pronouns
called
just-
like Astartes Legion 2. It's gonna be Schizo Post. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. All it is a bunch of pronouns and then black marker.
So just to touch on it, there are 2 legions, 2 and 11, that are completely kind of redacted from all Imperium files.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what happens. One says killed, one says missing. So we don't know. They may bring something. It may be open for them to bring something new onto the table. It may be something for them to fucking retcon and fucking redo. Or it may a lot of people just use it as an excuse to run their own chapter their own way.
But
was
it's
gonna
funny
say.
because it in several books that you listen that you read or short stories that you read, they allude somewhat to what happened. They know what happened there. They even allude to what had happened for the most part, but they never go into specifics. The moment they bring up anything like that, it's immediately shut down.
Yeah, it's immediately silenced.
Oh yeah. Anyways, on to the Emperor's Children.
Yeah, so on to the
I
Emperor's
will
Children.
lose myself in that tangent.
All right, so I'm kind of knowledgeable about them from Great Crusade on.
Yeah.
A little bit, not really in 40K. I know like Horus Heresy and everything.
Yeah.
So you'll have to fill in
That's
a lot
all
of the
good. I
blanks.
got you.
So what I have written down, Fulgrim landed on Chemos,
Yes.
which is a mining world.
Mm.
I don't really know anything about his time on Chemos.
I got the story.
Oh, here we go.
There
Here's
it
the
is.
real facts with Step Bro. So, whenever
Step bro, story time.
yes, so the entire story of Fulgrim is a very interesting one. So he landed at Chemos, which during the 5,000 year period of old night or the dark age, whatever the fuck it was, right? When everybody was cut off, the planet of Chemos was barely surviving. There was like no interstellar trade because some people could trade with like within the solar system. There's multiple planets or like a nearby system, stuff like that. Chemos had essentially none of that shit. They had some other planets nearby. They knew about them, but they couldn't do shit because life on Chemos was so rough that if people were not working 24 hours a day to run stuff, they would all die. That they were on the hairline trigger between success and failure, or I should say survival and failure. Okay.
Self-sustainment, not even success.
Exactly. Yeah. They could not do shit. There was zero time to go and do stuff. Right. So, Groot, we have like an 8-hour working day, right?
Mhm.
So I'm assuming you have a pretty normal schedules. Like, you wake up for whatever time you have, you go in, you clock into work, you work 8 hours, and you come home after that, And you sort of, you relax, you unwind, you go to sleep, then you wake up, you rinse, repeat, and then do that for 5 out of 7 days, next 2 days.
Have the days off.
Yeah, have the days off. Play some Warhammer, all the fun stuff. Chemos, that was not a thing. Chemos was as bad as the modern Imperium is in 40K, but probably even worse. Okay.
Really?
You had zero fucking time to do anything. I'm saying you clocked in for a 16-hour shift, if probably more. Sometimes a lot of the workers were awake for 2 to 3 days just in order to like meet quota, everything else, operating these giant mining machines on Chemos, trying to go make stuff survive. And they're ruled by a council, basically burgermeisters. So like very large financial guys
Right.
who did stuff. And they were also just trying to survive. So we can, normally a lot of times people think like, oh, well, they're high up. They probably had it pretty well off. No, it sucked for them too. They were just able to go on ahead and have a slightly easier job. They were not in any, they weren't royalty.
Think about being a manager, kind of like being a manager at a McDonald's during rush hour.
Exactly, yeah, doing that stuff. Now that being said, one day some workers saw what was basically an asteroid crash to Earth, or to Chemos. And lulled by whatever, they said, hey, overseer, can my cousin take my shift? And then me and 3 people go out and see what happened because it crashed kind of nearby the hive city, everything else. And they said, yeah, that's fine. Ship's covered. Go on ahead. And they said, okay, well, instead of sleeping during this time, we're going to go on out and see what the fuck it was. Because we got nothing else to do aside from rest. And we're kind of used to not resting. Let's go and find out what it was. They run out there and they find, in this barren toxic hellscape, a child swaddled, right? Not literally swaddled, but in like a little capsule. Now, here's the thing about orphans on Chemos is that you were a strain on society because people had to raise you, everything else. You were not.
This just sounds like Dragon Ball Z times 20.
I've never seen Dragon Ball Z, so I'm not sure.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm not Hispanic.
What?
That's a fucking joke.
Neither am I.
I am.
I know you've seen Dragon Ball Z, haven't you?
You're damn right.
Yeah, I know. No,
Your
it's a joke.
homework
It's a
now
joke
is
that Hispanics have all are big into Dragon Ball Z.
Your homework
I
now
mean,
is
you're
to
not wrong.
watch Dragon
You're not
Ball
wrong
Z.
at all.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But they go on, and so normally orphans are killed because they're a surrender resource. And one of the workers who found him actually went ahead and tried to kill him, but the sheer radiance of this child, it was angelic, caused the other workers to actually go and beat him to death because he tried to harm this child. They then took him to the overseer, and the overseer also was like, this is a beautiful baby. And they kept him. And Fulgrim grew up, and whenever he grew up, he was a really big asset when it came to working because he's a fucking Primarch, right? So he's doing 10 people's jobs at once, and he managed to start improving the machines, improving the efficiency, improving how things operated, making things more streamlined, and he improved it so much that by the time the Emperor found him, he was the de facto lord of the world, with several wives, by the way. Granted, we're not sure if that's intimate or whether it's just political, but he had wives. But people actually had time for free time. They could go do stuff. They were opening up trade with nearby worlds because they had time to do that.
To prosperity.
Exactly, yeah. Or at the very least, like a comfortable survivability, right? It went from you're in the Gulag, son, to hey, you're in like modern day America, which is a really good fucking difference. So that's what happened beforehand. Now, fun fact about this, it is revealed that his place was swapped with Jagatai Khan. At some point, I forget for what reason. So Jagatai Khan was supposed to land on Chemos, and Fulgrim was supposed to land on Colchis. So, the more you know.
Wait.
Yeah.
On Colchis?
Colchis. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I'm Chagoras.
Yeah, sorry, Chagoras.
I was like Colchis. I'm like, wait. So he should have landed with
Could you
Lorgar.
imagine Could you imagine a meth rattled fucking Mongolian landing on fucking Chemos?
Oh god, that'd be horrifying.
Can you
I know the
imagine-
problem. The machine's not going fast enough.
Well,
Dude.
this is what brings up an interesting question. Okay, and this is not a spicy subject, though some people might consider it that way. Okay, but think about the ethnicity of the Primarchs and also where they landed, as well as how they looked. Okay, Kurz landed on an entirely big night world, and he grew up to be like super, super ghostly, pale-skinned, long hair. He looked like the denizens of Nostramo. Okay, Jagatai landed on a planet that was populated by basically Asians.
Mongolians.
Mongolians. And then he grew up and he was a Mongolian. Okay? And all the planets who landed there basically mimicked the race that they were there, right? Lorgar basically fell down to Colchis, and he was sort of like a tanned Middle Eastern guy. That's what he was. So that's a good question. If Fulgrim landed on Chogoris, would he have been Mongolian?
No, he'd
That
look
would've
like
been
one of them. He'd look like one of them fucking Thai
He would-
femboys.
Nah, he would have
Oh,
been.
God.
He would have been Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai. That would have been full.
Entirely possible. It's just very interesting. Where it's like conveniently the only Mongolian Primarch landed there, and Vulcan landed on what was the name of the Salamander's planet?
Oh my god.
Nocturne.
Yeah.
Nocturne. Now, as a Primarch, you're resistant to fucking everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he somehow still got the same jet black skin that everybody else got. So very clearly, I'm just saying. Now, this is not canon. This is like my own personal headcanon, but I think there's a strong.
There's a
case for this.
correlation.
There's a correlation here. Is that the Primarchs were given the ability to adapt to how they were raised, almost like a chameleon type effect.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
So there you go. That's my little tangent for that. But that's a very interesting thing to think about. So potentially we could have had Mongolian Fulgrim. So the more you know.
Yeah,
would've been
imagine
cool.
imagine if Lorgar had landed literally anywhere else besides Colchis.
Imagine if Lorgar wasn't touched as a kid by the
On
Catholic priests.
Colchis.
By Colchis.
No, imagine Jagatai Khan falling on Colchis. He'd be
Also,
the fanatic.
interesting story about Chemos. Turns out, I found out they got destroyed. It got destroyed by the Dark Angels.
I
Wow.
actually didn't know that. I assume
Was
that
not
makes
aware of
sense with what
It
the
got,
Latin was doing.
apparently it got destroyed by the Dark Angels in the late Horus Heresy.
Yeah, makes sense.
I don't know exactly what happened. I didn't look into the story.
Oh, because the lion's a dick, and it's like instead of running into terror, my brother's already doing that. I'm just gonna run around and fucking.
I'm just gonna bombard you. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
fucking
I'm gonna-
annihilate your fucking. Oh,
That way
this
he-
looks successful.
Yeah.
Delete.
You know what? That way he can't get more recruits. That way the Emperor's children are starved of reinforcements.
Well, the problem is at the end of the Horus Heresy, every single legion was strong recruits from literally fucking anywhere.
I mean,
anywhere.
you're not wrong, but they wouldn't be any more.
Like,
Chemosians, I
from
guess.
the homeworld. So,
So,
Yeah.
so now that there's no Chemos, well, their current base is the Eye of Terror.
Mhm.
They're one of the legions that fled into the Eye of Terror after the Horus Heresy.
Mhm.
And but turns out that apparently, according to rumors through the Administratum, Fulgrim has been seen. There have been sightings of Fulgrim in real space.
Yes.
Oh, really?
You know what the most interesting part about all the Demon Primarchs
Mm-hmm.
is that timeline-wise, right, we've had Magnus and we had Mortarion, now Angron, and obviously Fulgrim's coming up pretty quick. But due to the lore that we've seen, they've actually all appeared almost at the same time. We just haven't seen them in any actual reported battlefields until the model's released. So that's kind of just a little interesting tidbit. So Angron's been
That's
around
weird.
for
Mhm.
a second. Same with Mortarion before 8th edition launched, just for a tiny bit, and now also Fulgrim. And it was mainly the Cicatrix Maledictum that was like, let's kick them out of their homes and fucking go fuck up real space. Let's go.
Let's cut the kids loose again.
Exactly, yeah.
It's been 10,000 years. They'll be all right.
Yeah, they'll grown enough. That's
So,
fine.
so these guys started out as a little bit pompous. Well, a lot of bit pompous. They were the only legion that was allowed to wear the Emperor's Aquila,
Yeah.
which didn't
Amazing honor.
Yeah, it's a very high honor. Didn't exactly go so well for him.
Well,
you know, that's kind of
the-
like winning the gold medal and then finding out you won the gold medal because you did heroin.
Yeah, pretty much.
That and it created a lot of jealousy between the legions, obviously, because you know you can wear dad's thing, but I can't.
Yeah.
But they did probably start out one of the most loyal legions to the Emperor, rather than you know where they're at now. They had a strong desire for perfection and being like the Emperor.
Oh, 100%. Whenever this all first began, right, and the seeds of the heresy were sown and stuff was starting to culminate, like in the first, as you can see in like the first 10 books of Horus Heresy, basically. Obviously, I know like stuff kicks off, but there's a lot of callbacks to before time.
Yeah.
He was like the most fucking loyal son. He was one of the sons that if you looked at, you were saying he would never fall to chaos. He would never be a traitor, anything else. And I believe even like Horus was sort of saying that at the beginning until Fulgrim, due to like demonic influence, kind of.
Well, originally in the books, because I even have it written down. Originally, he actually opposed Horus and said, Horus came to him and said, I have this fucking plan. I've got it all set. I need your help. And he was like, no. But with the help of the blade of Lair, the blade that he took from Lair, the demon that was inside, strongly convinced him otherwise. and the demon took him when he was at his weakest moment, and
Yeah, went over there.
So I want to touch on what you were talking about with the pomposity, pompousness, whatever of the Legion.
Yes.
Yeah. They didn't start out that way. They didn't really get that way until after Fulgrim was brought in and put as the head of the Legion. For the longest time, Emperor's Children, or they weren't known as that at that time. They were known as something else, like the Heralds or something like that. They their whole dude, they were basically the personal security detail for the Emperor, and going out on, you know, diplomacies and the like diplomatic and emissary missions and stuff like that. And this also leads into the tragedy that happened to them. I don't know if you have that in the outline
I
there.
do
and shit.
not.
Oh,
But oh wow, okay.
I didn't have that
So,
in there. Who? I need
They
to do
were
it.
they were
Groot needs
basically
to do
the
better
Emperor's
research.
fucking personal security detail for the longest time.
Mhm.
They sent out on as emissaries and diplomats to other places and stuff. That's why they were given the Palatine Aquila. All right, so it came with a genetic disorder where it caused organ failure like crazy, and it spread throughout the whole freaking Legion. So by the time Fulgrim came in and took over the Legion, there was only like 200 guys in the whole freaking Legion.
yep.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Space
and
cancer.
he said himself, he's like only through imperfection are we going to fail the Emperor. We'll make sure we'll never fail the Emperor. That's where the whole perfection and pomposity and all that bullshit came from.
Huh.
Was because of that whole thing happening. He got them, so they were attached to Horus and the Luna Wolves for the longest freaking time, and then they finally built up their Legion to
Which
the
explains why
size it
him
was.
and Horus were so close.
right.
Yeah, because they worked very closely with the Luna Wolves at the time, later Sons of Horus, whenever they were still on that low number count. And that's sort of what they would do is while they were still down and regrowing their Legion into an actual Legion force, they would basically send detachments of their Emperor's Children to other forces, specifically Horus and the Luna Wolves, in order to act as advisors, to learn, to train. But at the same time, these made sure these guys do a lot of different ways of warfare, and that led to, whenever the actual Legion came about due to recruitment, the Emperor's Children basically took the best from everything, and they just executed a flawless system. Okay, when it came to combat, that was how they basically worked. Was, hey, we're going to be similar to the Ultramarines, and we're just going to execute stuff in a flawless manner. Okay, so you ever seen like the little videos of like guys clearing houses, stuff like that?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we've seen videos probably one time or another on YouTube where it's like professional SWAT team tries to like clear a house, and you can see how fast they move, go through the house stuff. You're like, man, that's
Yeah.
badass. And then you go around and maybe like see some training videos, just like army fail videos, when I'm assuming they put like guys through a course or something.
I've lived that life. I've seen both sides.
Been
and it's
there.
funny as shit every time.
Yeah, and then you see other guys, and they're like,
Bro, active. I'm
taking
not gonna lie.
slower,
Active
going
shooter
in-
drills are like the funnest day of
Oh, yeah.
security life.
moving
Especially
fast.
if you're in a freaking shoot house.
Yeah,
You get
it's
into
fucking
shoot outs, oh,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, but that was the entire thing that they perfected, to say, hey, whenever we got a plan, we do this just in a flawless manner. If we're defending a wall like the Imperial Fist, we're gonna go ahead and make sure that we do this by the book, and we do this well to perfection, right? Even if you're like a Space Wolf, Son of Dorn, anybody else, there were still times where basically that this may be your shit, but you're still a full organization with like more veteran members, more inexperienced members, and you're still struggling to just kind of be an experienced guy. All the fucking Emperor's Children were basically like fully ranked up goddamn spec ops type shit whenever it came to fulfilling duties. They
Yeah,
knew
they-
what the fuck to do,
they
and
pull
that
up
made them
with-
hyper lethal.
Yeah, whenever they would pull up like rank and file, like their ranks would be absolutely perfect. Like everybody would be standing
yeah.
full attention, perfectly aligned.
Yeah.
Armor fucking primed and polished to absolute mirror sheen. Everybody looks the same. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, fun fact, after, obviously, whenever Fulgrim came back, they got his genetic sample, which cured, like, the little space cancer, which is the main enemy of 40k
Yeah.
factions, apparently.
Yeah.
And they fixed that, and all the remaining old legionaries eventually died out over this, like, Horus Heresy, Siege of Terra, because there was only a couple hundred of them left. But one of the main ones was, of course, Fabius Bile, who's still alive today. And that's
Fabulous
his
Bill.
entire shtick.
Fabulous Bill.
Fabulous
Yeah.
Bill is that he literally has to clone and basically transfer his consciousness to a new body, and each new body lasts less than the previous body due to this cancer. And it gets to the point where very clearly this cancer is not only just a physical defect, but it's a warp or spiritual based effect as well, because it's following fabulous bile from
Fabulous
body to body. Fabulous bile from body
And
to
fucking
body.
Vigo the Carpathian.
Yeah. So it's very similar to Magnus's and Thousand Sons flesh change, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it's a legion defect, not necessarily a physical defect.
Yeah.
One thing I
each legion
also
has a
thought
flaw.
was
Mhm.
one thing I
That's
also thought was really cool was Fulgrim. Whenever he came into the Legion, he also he was one of them that, you know, the big what's the word I'm looking for?
Cock.
Yes.
Yes.
No, the big fucking comparison between all the fucking legions is, you know, the whole theory on what do we do when there are no wars. Fulgrim actually had his people, you know, doing art, poetry. He wanted them to be able to do something other than just fight.
Yep.
Which was really cool. And some of them were like the greatest artists ever and painted like great pictures of Fulgrim and statues and poems and cool shit like that. So then, after he opposed Horus and everything, Istvan 3 and the Drop Site Massacre happened.
Which by that point he was on board with Horus.
Yeah.
At that point he was like
that.
full corrupt.
Yeah, that was full corrupt. I'm ready. And it was almost kind of like a direct thing to make Fulgrim fall to chaos. There was one thing holding him back, and that was Ferrus Manus.
Yeah. It was like his most loyal brother. I mean, an entire big family, whenever you got 18 brothers, right? You're going to have your favorites, and you're going to have your least favorites. Ferrus Manus to Fulgrim was as close to him as any Primarch could be. They were the brothers. There's this epic tale, which I'm not sure if you have written down or anything else like that, but it was whenever he met Ferrus, and they're both like forging and artifacts.
I don't have it written down, but I know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. And underneath Terra and the Emperor's giants, super souped up little manufactory, they said, I can make a better weapon than you. Well, no, I can make a better weapon than you. And they end up crafting for several days. They work tirelessly through like weeks of time until finally they make these blades. And at that point, they are both so impressed with each other's weapons that they declare each other the winner. It's like, hey, I say you're the winner. And then you say, no, you're the winner. And it was just that type of stupid ass bullshit.
Obviously, your blade is better than mine.
Yeah.
Your blade is in no comparison. And they were like, no, obviously you're the clear winner. And it was like the Apollo Creed thing.
Exactly, yeah. And that's sort of like how that friendship began, which is interesting because the Emperor's children are very similar to the Iron Tenth of the Iron Hands.
They are, and
Yes.
it was actually Ferrus Manus was an initial big part to Horus's plan for taking over. He wanted Ferrus.
Yes, I would say Ferrus does not get nearly as much love as he needs to, just because he was, spoiler alert, he was axed pretty fucking quick.
Yeah,
He didn't really have much of a character arc or development in this.
He lasted half of a full book.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But during that time, it's because, while the Emperor's children are sort of dedicated to perfection via, like, everybody knows what the hell they're doing. They're all experts. They're all professionals. It's very quick, swift, clean. Ferrus Manus was the guy who was, I need everything to be professional, mechanical, and swift. So they're both seeking that same, like, fluid motion. But Ferrus was doing that through everybody knows their roles. So it's a very easy working machine. And Emperor's children and Fulgrim was very much more, everybody just needs to have the knowledge, comprehension, and skills. That way they can fulfill any role they need to.
And the battle between Ferrus Manus and fucking Fulgrim is one of the greatest moments in Horus Heresy reading that I've ever done. It was almost compared to like Anakin versus Obi-Wan.
It very much
I mean,
was.
that's basically what it was.
Yeah, pretty much. It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground, and then
So with this discussion, I got an ADD tangent, and I was like, I'm going to look up the genetic flaws of all the legions.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I did. I pulled it up in here, and apparently Emperor's children, you would think that the blight, which is what it was called with the organ degeneration and all that crap, that wasn't their genetic flaw. That was someone screwed up.
Right.
Someone took the factory throwouts and put it into these guys. their genetics. Okay, so it produced warriors with finely sculpted physiques, a noble bearing, and finely controlled thought processes. But it had psychological tendencies driven towards personal achievement and competition to prove individual superiority. And the only physical abnormality registered was the occasional incident of albinism, so being an albino, and a shift in iris color to violet in some recruits. So
they were
God, that's so
Cadians.
extra.
So each-
actually, yeah.
So they were
Pretty
Cadians.
close,
yeah. So each their genetic flaw was each and every one of them was a tryhard. That's
The planet
basically
broke,
what it
but the
was.
Legion never did. Well,
My spleen's ruptured, but not my soul.
Yeah, psychologically they were all tryhards. They were just like, I have to be better than this guy
that really
here.
makes sense because
Yeah.
it really played like look at Lucius.
Look at Lucius. Look at Saul Tarvitz. Well, not really Saul Tarvitz. He was actually probably one of the best dudes that they had. But Eidolon, freaking
Rylanor?
Rylanor.
Yeah.
Rylanor was the most honorable dude in that
He
whole
was.
freaking book. But who was the other captain? It was Eidolon, and there was another captain
I mean, we talked.
that got freaking spoiler alert, he got axed by Fulgrim as well.
There's been so many, man. He goes through them like Angron.
Yeah,
Yeah,
does.
he goes. He
Yeah.
changes up council a lot.
yeah.
But
But-
so Isvan 3 and the drop site massacre happens. Fucking the fight between Fulgrim happens. He kills Ferrus Manus, and the demon finally like fully takes over him. And then from the Horus Heresy books, they kind of disappear.
Yeah, well, and yes and no. So we have to, and again, we're going over 30K, like a lot. It's like, man, this is overall Warhammer. You feel like 40K will go over more, but honestly, like to understand a lot of the legions, the Horus Heresy books does the best job of explaining why they are the way they are, and it gives a lot more context and love to them. And we also can't fully understand that without going into Angel Exterminatus,
Yes.
one of the Horus
yes.
Heresy books. So if you want to read that for yourself, which is a very good book, just don't listen to the rest of the podcast, or if there's a time frame to where like we're done talking about it, I'll put that in the video right now.
Well, I figured without there'd be obvious spoilers, but like
Yeah.
we just kind of hit the basics.
Yeah,
of
we're in
what-
basics. We're not going over everything.
Oh
that
yeah,
goes
no,
through.
no.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely
and
not.
anyone getting axed
time for
is
it.
just us saying that. Like to actually, whether you're listening on Audible or actually reading the book, to experience that firsthand.
Way different than knowing.
Is way more intense than just knowing, oh, this guy got killed. Like how he got killed, the whole process of it is an experience that you need to
It was a
have.
Charnel house.
It's a charnel house.
Body glove.
Yeah. But the important thing to understand about Fulgrim is even whenever he was like sort of slowly falling over to Horus's side, right? He was still a traitor, not a heretic. Okay. He didn't deal with the chaos stuff. He found it kind of repulsive. And he even thought about firing on Horus because, again, the brightest stars and the highest angels fall the farthest, right?
Right.
Like in biblical lessons, whenever you think of Lucifer, he was the highest of angels, but now he's the literal devil, right? According
Right.
to the Bible. So, and that's exactly what happened to Fulgrim. So whenever he broke that last tie, like you were saying, and he killed Paris, he just started losing his shit. He mentally broke. And for a Primarch, that is very, very hard to do.
Well, it was to the
Yes.
point where like didn't like the demon replace him in like a painting, and he was stuck in like a
Yes. Now that's sort of the entire thing is the demon obviously was doing demon shit and trying to basically
some
Take
goddamn
over Fulgrim.
Dorian Gray shit.
exactly, yeah, and
Yeah.
take him over. But Fulgrim as a Primarch just had his mental guard up way, way too high to where like the demon couldn't do shit. Whenever he killed Fulgrim and had that mental break, that's whenever the demon took over because Fulgrim mentally checked out. He fucking lost.
Yeah. Fulgrim basically got locked in a mental cage inside his own head, and the demons
And then
doing things now.
Yeah, and then in between books, without saying anything, he regained control. Thanks, Plex Library. That totally, I didn't want to see that for myself. Totally not.
Yeah.
So
it's
from
just-
what I heard, like I've heard stories about how they did it, and apparently, like the captains would literally just bring Fulgrim and just beat the shit out of him.
No, so they tried to. So what happened is eventually, the demon was very different to Fulgrim when it came to personality, and he didn't do a good job of trying to hide the fact that he wasn't Fulgrim.
Right.
Even whenever he presented Ferris's head to a box to Horus, who at the time thought that was
Yeah.
really fucking morbid, actually. of how things change. But
Yeah.
went around, Horus instantly picked up, "You're not Fulgrim," and that was his first full encounter with the demon as an ally.
Right.
Yeah.
Going, I might have fucked up.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's like, hold on. All right, you're not Fulgrim.
yeah,
I get it. This is probably not good, but
yeah.
are you gonna be cool? He
If-
was like,
as long as you're cool, I'm cool.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. It's like, are you gonna be cool about this? All right.
I don't like you, but I accept you.
Yeah.
Horus was very much, this is an issue we'll deal with later.
Yeah.
We got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
But during the captains eventually found out, hey, this isn't our Primarch. This is somebody inhabiting the body of our Primarch. This is really fucking weird. And they lured him into like a place on the ship. And whenever he was there, they literally all jumped him and tried to restrain him and beat the demon out of him.
Sock party.
Yeah, literally sock party. The problem is you're trying to restrain and sock party a Primarch. The Primarch then proceeded to literally bitch slap.
Not just a Primarch, a demon inhabited Primarch.
Exactly, yeah. And well, actually, at this point, no, because at this point he was entirely free, but they didn't know that because that was
okay.
the sheer shift in personality between pre-corruption Fulgrim
Yeah.
to now. Because whenever he fell, a lot of Primarchs was a slow descent, right? Especially with the Perturabo to where he is now, it was a very, very slow descent. You can see every single step he took. Fulgrim was at the very top of what he could be, and the moment he killed Ferris, he just plummeted all the way to the bottom, to the points where even after he did the killed the demon and got him out of his body, he was an entirely different person. He said, "I'm going to go for perfection," but his definition of perfection just changed to sensation and taste and the entire Slaneshi stuff. So they beat the shit out of him, or tried to. Fulgrim came around and beat the shit out of them, and I do mean beat the shit out of them, and eventually revealed, "Hey, I'm not a demon, guys. You got fucking trolled, hell." And I'm going to upload this to YouTube now. Fuck you. And
F's in the chat. F's in the chat, guys.
Exactly. And it gets to the point that the next time they were seen after Isfan was, for the most part, whenever they joined up with the Iron Warriors for was in the book Angel Exterminatus.
And they were completely different.
Yes.
Fucking Fulgrim went from like being this perfect looking, whatever, to, looking like Post Malone with fucking face tattoos, and fucking he had piercings and fucking tattoos all over his body and shit.
Oh, yeah.
And
and you can see how the change happens in like the Legion of the Crew in the book Fulgrim and Horus Heresy, which is one of the grossest, most disturbing books
Oh god.
in the Horus Heresy, but I love it to death.
oh, it's
yes.
so
They do
good
it so
though.
good.
It's probably my favorite book so far, just because of how far south shit went real quickly, man.
Yes.
Like it went from, especially with the painter chick. What
Oh
was her
yes,
name?
that was that.
Yeah, she's like,
Yeah.
I can't get the perfect shade of red, and she cuts herself to relieve some tension. And
Yeah.
she's like, oh, hold on, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I need.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to draw a sun. Let me piss on the freaking painting here. Like,
Yeah.
it's, what the?
Oh,
what's going on?
I need to
somebody else's fluid.
Oh, I
Yeah.
need to make mud. Oh, my shit makes the perfect color and texture of
Yeah.
mud.
Man, I can only cut myself. I can only bleed and shit myself so much. What can I? Oh, I can get people. Let me go get this guy over here from the bar real quick. And
Oh, he's
yeah,
drunk. Let's fuck before we do it. No, that'll
Yeah.
be great. No, that's wonderful. Oh, now I can kill him. And
All right, I got to put him in this bucket. Oh wait, there's 5 other people in this 55-gallon drum.
Yeah,
Well,
the
let me just try to
electric
stuff
ass.
them in there real quick.
Yeah.
Dude, it was a mind-blowing freaking book, man.
Oh yes, I cannot recommend that book enough. If you're listening, you have not read that. Even if you don't give a shit about the Horus Heresy, please read that and
Yes.
be disturbed. Now,
Read that book.
Now that being said, this leads to one of the I say this a lot, but there's a lot of funny moments, unintentionally funny moments, and that's whenever the Iron Warriors just took over a Imperial stronghold, killed them, like pretty much killed them all. A few unfortunately got taken captive, and that's a story for a different day. But then they're like, oh well, why are the Emperor's children not come down here? We got to do this all ourselves. What the fuck are they doing? And they land, and the last time they saw them was this van. They saw these noble warriors and everything else, and like, yeah, you're looking kind of weird, man. Like first stages of meth, but I'm not sure what's going on. But we'll leave you to it. That's
and
fine.
then next, all they see is these fucking hedonites.
Yes, you had Emperor's children coming off the ship after they're done, and the Iron Warriors do the standard thing where they're in like parade procession to meet their brothers in arms, all this stuff. And the first thing they're greeted with is them coming down. They got a riot of colors. They have human skin draped over them. Some of them have different fetishes and everything else. And then all the humans also come off the ship with them, and they're literally on orgy on wheels, doing shit. You got people eating other people. You got people like fucking in giant hundreds and hundreds wide orgies, greeting the Iron Warriors this way. And it gets to the point where they almost come into blows over this because Perturabo was actually like, "What the fuck, guys?" And eventually they
gross.
Yeah, it only escalated from there, by the way, and that's the book that made me respect Perturabo, because although he's a cunt and I hate him as an Imperial Fist,
I love how
he
you
knows
could
his shit.
I love how you could see like the vein pop in fucking Perturabo's head when they showed up, and he's just like,
He's like, oh,
gross.
no. Yeah, and it's also whenever the biggest moments, because they not to go too far into this, but Perturabo sort of had a very civil, regal attitude towards the war. He said, "We are going to overthrow Father, but at the same time, our brothers who follow them are not our enemies. We're going to have a clean war, for the most part, okay?" And meanwhile, he's like, "Oh, well, whenever we encounter our brothers and we defeat them, we'll capture them and they'll be our prisoners." And Pilgrim's like, "Let's torture fuck them to death." He's like, "What? Run that past me again." And
Wait,
that's
you mean that's not an effective way of doing it?
yeah. So that's how that went. And the book continues on. You see the Emperor's children being hedonized, everything else. And it gets to the point where they're, with Bile, making the cacophony, and they're implementing the sound weapons that they encountered when they fought the lair, when they initially encountered that corruption with the lair blade, which was a xeno species, snake species that kind of like worships Slanesh, all that fun stuff. Yeah, they got really fucked up. They made noise brains now, so they weaponized noise. And yeah.
Oh yeah. Also in the book Fulgrim, you will see how the noise brains came to be about. It is amazing how that transition happens
Yes.
in the opera.
that was pretty much the turning, like the
Yeah.
climax for the book was the
Yeah,
opera.
you see these guys just. I think one dude rips. No, he. What did he do? I think he ripped off someone's leg, and then tied some strings to it or something, and then just started playing it. And
Just
it
fucking
was
sick guitar solo, bro.
yeah. And then another dude, I think he grabbed like a pair of drums or something from the stage or whatever, and he just, dude, it was insane.
And here's Wonderwall.
Yeah, exactly. They all started playing "Closing Time" by Semisonic.
Everybody started, the whole fucking crowd started screaming "Freebird." But so throughout the book Angel Exterminatus, you see kind of like the devolving of the Emperor's children in Fulgrim to the culmination where you finally see fucking Demon Primarch Fulgrim in his full glory, and then they kind of disappear again until
Mainly the Siege of Terra. That's
Yeah.
whenever they came back in like one of the best sequences when all the traitor Primarchs finally appear in Siege of Terra, which that's tangent. But what ended up happening in Siege of Terra, very briefly, is the Emperor's children fucked around. This is not hugely important, so I ain't gonna go super deep into it. They fought the Siege of Terra, but the big deal is that they got really sidetracked really, really badly. And eventually, whenever Dorn beat Fulgrim's ass, booyah. Then in that case, Fulgrim kind of fucked off, and the Emperor's children are actually responsible for all the traitor Marines basically surviving after the Siege of Terra, because they went around, and while everybody else was doing the war, they were grabbing civilians and turning them into slaves. And reminder, Terra is a giant hive world. Okay, so they had, unironically, billions and billions of people captured as slaves. So after the Siege of Terra, when they were all retreated back at the Eye of Terror, you still have to maintain equipment, right? You have to maintain equipment. World eaters have to have people they can kill so they don't basically have the nails kill them.
Go insane.
Yeah, go insane. All this stuff. And because of that, the slaves, through the traitor legions find themselves in the Legion Wars after the Horus Heresy, the slaves ended up being kind of like redistributed to all of the legions, and that gave them enough manpower while they were getting settled in the Eye of Terror to basically survive.
Nice.
So in a way, the Emperor's children are responsible for the traitor Marines actually surviving to current day,
Interesting.
because it gave them the manpower to get set up.
So do we want to go over the known war bands?
Oh, God. I'm not doing the thing for last
The
episode where
last
I pull up like 20 different. No, yeah, going ahead, but
So-
I'm not doing that shit.
Yeah,
Again.
okay, you don't have to do it. So the known war bands, because after it, they, all the legions broke up into war bands because they all wanted to do their own fucking thing now. So you have 12th Company, you have the Black Crusade of Jihar the Eternal, you have the Consortium, which is Fabius Bile's little group, I guess.
Medical doctors, Dr. Mingala type deal.
Probably.
And that's also opened up to more than just Empress Children. They even have like a Death Guard surgeon.
Oh, that's cool.
I know, yeah.
You have the Creations of Bile, the Flickering Blades, the Hex Clawed Phoenix, the Mirror Host, the Pallid Raptors, the Phoenix Conclave, the Ripping Nails, the Thirsting Brethren, the Warband of Excrucius the Flawless. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, the Flawless is pretty cool.
Warband of the Silver Prince and the Warband of the Flawless Host, which are your kind of like almost kind of like your successor chapters.
Yeah, because whenever the Primarchs eventually Zutera ended, they kind of fucked off to the Materium because they're half demonic now, so they sort of served the god in that way, leaving all their sons alone. So that's whenever they splintered and formed those. And there's a lot more successor like war bands, so to say, than that. But that goes for everything we talk about, right? So there's way more, but
and exciting to see because Fulgrim has now just dropped back on the tabletop too. In Horus Heresy. Unfortunately, not in 40K yet. Hopefully, we'll see him soon.
I swear to God, they're just gonna relegate the entire EC to just a detachment in the CN7 Codex. Probably. I see that being a thing.
That's what I'm thinking. I hope they don't, but. Probably.
I mean, it would be smart to bring him back because obviously he's still alive, and if they brought him back as a demon Primarch,
money.
Yeah, they've already done it. Okay, they've already done it for Horus Heresy, but they've already done it for Angron, Mortarion, Magnus. I mean, it would stand to reason that Fulgrim would be brought back. It goes
along the same thing that Stepbros told us about Slanesh. Slanesh is a very, very slippery slope.
Yeah, it's a very slippery slope nowadays, given everything that's going on.
Well, they've entirely redesigned Slanesh as a whole. Games Workshop has basically for stuff, and you can see this in AOS because it was very much sex, drugs, rock and roll, and sex first.
You blame the freaking Eldar for that. So
exactly, and that's still very true. But they've But that used to be the thing. A lot of the old models, they had like titties out. They had everything else. It was very much BDSM type style. The new one is a lot more just less sex, drugs, rock and roll, and much more general excess.
Yeah, right? And that's the thing I like. That's the thing that I really like about Emperor's Children, and why I think you should break the stigma on it, because it's not just fucking
it's not
how many titties you can put on yourself or how many dicks you can attach. It's. Especially with AOS, like they have the the Lord of Gluttony or whatever, the big old fat dude, and that model's so cool.
Yeah. So they've actually, I fully approve of that change, just because like sex is still very much a big deal, right? And all that raunchy stuff, that's kind of a bit.
But there it needs to be obviously. Obviously, I can appreciate it, and it's cool it's cool having minis with fucking like 7 titties on it.
Yeah.
But like, I like the broader spectrum of Slanesh being the Lord of Excess.
Is the Lord of Excess, and that means that could be anything. It's not just sex. And it's to do with stimulation, freaking, and not in the sexual stimulation, but auditory, visual, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than just sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Although you made the Noise Marines, so it's definitely rock and roll in there. But.
Oh yeah, that's definitely still a presence. Now in 40K, obviously they're still around. Everything else, still Legion strength, a lot of war bands, and also a lot of characters that are kind of like leading them through. They haven't done much in the lore because they haven't come back yet. So there's not a lot when it comes to specifically Emperor's Children lore, aside from Fabius Bile. And Fabius Bile is the only actual 40K look we have at Fulgrim at the moment.
Right.
Because he actually visits Fulgrim and talks to him, and you can see he has something called a pleasure planet. That's literally a planet that acts almost like a pilgrimage site for anybody who worships Slanesh. Nice. And you will have actual mortals try to take this pilgrimage to this planet and granted, they'd like all die, but at the same time, if you're one of the 1 in a trillion that makes it through, you basically reach like eternal pleasure. Okay. And that's what he does. He's literally been fucking off, jerking off in his own little planet he can mold to his
a jerk off planet.
He does have a jerk off. He has the goon cave.
Yeah. So you have Fabius Bile, who's like one of the main characters, and he's obviously the one who's more lore accurate. And then you have Lucius, who's running around doing his thing, and he's actually like, I don't know, kind of what's considered like your champion of Slanesh almost.
He's the Karn and the Typhus and the Ahriman of EC.
Yeah. Lucius is definitely just his.
He's also the greatest swordsman in all of
Go
40K.
fuck yourself. No, the fuck he isn't.
He's an independent character. Freaking
He
Lucius.
can solo anybody.
Yeah, Lucius
He's
is.
so a dick, that's for sure.
He's the one man wolf pack. He's a lone wolf basically. in
I'm
this whole
hoping
thing.
that with them making the Hammer and Bolter episode of him, really hoping he gets like maybe some kind of change, like a new model perhaps.
Oh, I
would
guarantee it.
love a new Lucius model.
I'll say I whenever they came out with World, because they've updated, like, Armin's been around, but he's good. I don't know if he got updated with T-Sons. They updated Typhus, which is cool. Maybe they've had a lot of these first characters have been around before the Primarchs and the Legion stuff. But Karn was already a good looking model. The Lucius model is fucking awful. If you look at the actual GW one, it's like a shit.
Well,
it looks
they-
like
like
a
fucking
shit.
Baraka.
They updated the
Yeah.
Karn, they updated the Karn model because he
did
used
they?
to he used to be just the small pewter model.
Yeah.
And he they did him wrong, dude. The same thing they did with the demon prince when he was like a tiny little freaking thing.
I still have that.
Yeah,
the tiny
Jesus
ass one.
Christ. Yeah. The Karn model was the same
Yeah.
way too. It was just like that's Karn. That looks like somebody put somebody took a jack-o'-lantern with the spiked teeth and just put it on a freaking put a world eater's helmet over it. It's just like,
There we go. That's fine.
yeah, that's good. It's fine. Like the
Yeah,
teeth
so
are there.
hopefully he'll be. I mean, he should, because that model's so god awful that I have a hard time believing they'll release EC without updating his model.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. So that's everything. And
Yeah, I'll say a lot of these characters we're gonna have like their own episodes on, like further down the line, because they deserve it. But
They
that's like the
definitely deserve it.
recap of the Legion as a whole. What other final notes can we have? Because it feels wrong, basically not talking about them more for 40K, but they don't have a lot of 40K stuff at the moment.
yeah, because after they disappeared, everything's just now kind of starting to pop back up. And like I said, there's rumors now of there's only rumors now of Fulgrim, popping up into the Materium.
Yeah. Now, the one interesting thing is, speaking of the Hammer and Bolter episode, they had that entire war band, and the war band was very, very changed. That was with Lucius.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was a Beastman, which was interesting. So it's almost like they went ahead and are going to go to more like animalistic route.
I
That'd
hope
be
so.
interesting to see like Beastmen.
Yeah,
and power armor type deal.
seeing some Beastmen come back, that would be dope.
Which, by the way, the Emperor's Children, this is actually kind of cool fact, is the Emperor's Children are the only Legion that we know of that has a woman serving in their rank. Now, woman's probably a strong word for whatever this bastard's become. And this isn't like a weird woke type deal. Like, this is actually a cool character. But it's straight up somebody who has to like fight to keep their place in the squad, but so swollen with the power of chaos that like she can actually do so. And it's a really cool dynamic. If you read the Fabulous Battle Trilogy, which
You
I
mean
highly
there's
recommend.
female Space Marines?
No, there's a female person in a Space Marine Legion. There is no female Space Marines. There will never be female Space Marines. That's not a thing. Go fuck yourself if you think so.
This has been Step Bro, and he approves
so
this
there's
message.
there's the Karn 40K
Oh,
model. You'll have to go.
God.
Yeah,
Oh.
he looks. I guess for the time he looked all right,
Yeah.
but it's nothing compared to the one you get from today.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's right there.
Oh, that looks retarded.
Yeah. He looks. He looks like someone took a dwarf, put him in a corn berserker outfit, and told him look menacing, and he's just like, yeah.
It makes him at night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looks like Karn got infected with a Necron.
Honestly, though.
Yeah. It's terrible. That was the older edition. I think that's maybe like 5th or 6th edition, like maybe earlier than that. Who knows? But yeah, they need to reskin some models and
But,
stuff.
Yeah, if you got any Legion that sort of like breaks the mold for stuff, it's going to be Emperor's Children. They have the only atheist. They only have the only female diversity hire. They only have the I don't know. I mean,
They have the
they're
greatest
unique.
swordsman in all of the
No,
legions.
they do not. They could go fuck. Do you know what?
Look,
It's
okay,
easy
so this,
to be the greatest when you have literal hacks on. I'm
It's
sorry,
great whenever
it is.
it's great
Okay,
whenever I wait to whenever I wait till the end to go on my tangents because you can't argue. Haha.
so
I added this video. I will add in my
Okay,
own commentary. at the
okay,
end.
so
Yeah.
this whole thing stems Lucius versus Sigismund.
Sigismund
Lucius.
wins every single time.
Lucius.
Sigismund, no, Sigismund.
Lucius.
Sigismund was the best by such a long shot.
Who's still alive?
I'm sorry.
Oh
I'm
damn!
sorry.
Left him
Oh.
speechless.
Whenever Abaddon says, like, Sigismund was the best swordsman, just period, flat out. He was the best. I'm
Behind
sorry,
Lucius.
who has Lucius lost to? He lost to Loken. He has lost to Sigismund. He lost to Sevatar. He lost to, there's been other people too. I'm forgetting who. I think he lost to Karn, but I could be wrong. Like, I'm
That's all
sorry, he's
Imperial
not the best. He's not the best.
This is all Imperial propaganda to
Listen,
make you hate
okay,
Lucius.
No, that's
well-
from his point of view.
Also, too, and this is not to back Step Bro in this in any way.
No,
but,
continue on. You should.
But Lucius, they call him Lucius the Eternal. Why is that? Like, you can't really compare Lucius and Sigismund and be like, oh, well, who's still alive? Because it's like Lucius
because even
has,
when he loses, he wins.
because Lucius has warp fuckery on his side. So the fact that he's eternal means that there's other extenuating forces that won't let him die.
Like I said, because even when he loses, he wins. Because even if you now if you kill Lucius in battle, you become Lucius.
Well, and that's what I mean is you
Watch
can't really hold that over Sigismund. It's like who's alive, because it's like technically Lucius isn't alive either.
Watch that Hammer and Bolter episode. There's a great scene where the fucking I think it's a Black Templar fucking Judicar fucking
It's a exorcist. Exorcist chapter.
yeah, fucking exorcist fucking becomes Lucius.
I'm saying if I'm playing a video game where you only have one life per round and then one guy can respawn and wins the game, it's like I won. It's like no, the fuck you didn't. You hacked the game. Go fuck yourself. That's not a fair thing. That's not an accurate comparison.
It's like Dom Toretto said in Fast and the Furious. It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
You don't win though.
But
you
that
lose.
would mean but that would mean that you'd have to say the same thing for Necrons.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. Yeah.
Okay.
You killed the same Necron 18 times.
You
and he
lose
still
at a
came
video
back up.
game, then you send a pipe bomb in their mail. You're like, I win. It's like, no, you still lost. You just fucking killed them.
All right. So before we get on any more tangents, is there anything else we want to add to this?
Not
Before we,
really. Next
sign off?
episode's Iron Warrior, so there's that.
All right. Hell yeah.
Oh,
I did see a funny Gene Seed flaw for the Imperial Fists, but I can tell you after we're
Okay.
out of here and shit.
I'll say the Imperial Fists are interesting because they lack kind of like the more cartoony superpowers that come with being a space marine.
Yeah, but their flaw is actually kind of
Stubborn as fuck.
their flaw
Yeah.
is almost on word bearer's level of genetic flaw.
Yeah, I believe it.
Fanaticism.
Kind of. Mainly the self-flagellation and using a device called the pain glove.
It's official. Dorn's a masochist.
You know what? I'll just go ahead and throw it right here because
This is not pleasure. This is not
Okay.
masochism.
So
Yeah.
there's two things actually. So it says here that over time the Imperial Fists have lost the use of 2 of the Astartes organs.
Yep.
The Betcher's gland, which allows a space marine to produce poisonous/acidic acid like spittle.
Yep.
And the Susan membrane, which allows them to enter a state of suspended animation, i.e., how
we don't take naps. So
How-
What I'm
how-
hearing,
how
so what
Space
I'm
Marines-
hearing is the Imperial Fist swallow because they can't
So-
spit.
go fuck yourself.
So essentially, the Susan membrane is what allows an Astarte to essentially sleep but still be cognizant of his surroundings.
Right.
All right.
Where they
it
enter
says,
their fucking like
Yeah.
trance state.
Hibernation.
yeah. Battle Brothers of this chapter also display a pathological obsessive need to scrimshaw the bones of their dead when off duty.
Yeah.
Okay. The Imperial Fist and the Successor chapters tend to display the worrying psychological traits of self-castigation for perceived failures, both real and imagined, and often make use of a device called the pain glove, which encases the whole body and stimulates its pain neurons or through some other means such as flagellation.
Yeah.
It says some scions of Dorn chapters, I should say, display a unique genetic deficiency known as Dorn's darkness, a trance-like state
That's only one chapter.
that is akin to a living nightmare, where the afflicted battle brother experiences a sleeping wakefulness in which they relive the bottomless woe and profound misery of their Primarch's most trying time, when he found the Emperor mortally wounded during the final hours of the Siege of Terra.
That specifically, I've only heard of one chapter doing that, and that was kind of a funny thing because they would suffer that, but they would basically get so depressed that they would die. It was like the funniest thing. That was that entire chapter's thing is they
get the big sad.
They literally
and
got
then
the big
cash
sad
in
and-
the Remington retirement plan.
unironically, yeah. They just all said, "I'm not getting out of bed today. I'm just gonna die."
I'm gonna start a bolter.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know about the Imperial Fist that they can't like they don't have the Betcher's gland or the Susan membrane. So it means that when they sleep, they actually sleep.
Yeah.
They're not. You can sneak up on a
Well,
on
it
an
was still
Imperial
well, no,
Fist.
it's the membrane isn't sleep, right? Or that isn't anything like that. That's more like if you're on the verge of death, or if you're in a situation where you basically need your own little escape pod, you can basically seal yourself, and it sort of comes from their sweat and seals them in, and it serves as like its own air pocket, everything else.
But
and
that
it keeps them in
that
stasis.
also affects like they don't really need to sleep per se. It's because of the Susan membrane. It gives them a state of suspended animation. So they basically go into like a trance.
Well, yeah, but that's not when they actually sleep. Like when Space Marines still sleep, but grant for like 2 hours, but they still sleep everything else, and that's normal, regular human sleep. Susan membrane's only extended duration. That is hibernation as compared to sleep, and that
Okay,
so a little bit different, but that is pretty close. Yeah. Anyway, Space Marines are cool, and Imperial Fists are the coolest. Back to Emperor's
You
Children.
still have like 5 episodes for this.
I'm warming up.
It's okay because I have 4.
That's okay. That's fine. Yeah, whenever it gets to Space Wolves, I'm just not gonna say shit. I'm gonna let you two talk. Anyways, we can
it's
go
gonna
from
be
there.
God, that entire freaking episode is
dun,
just
dun,
gonna be
dun,
him
dun,
and
dun,
I
shit.
just yelling at each other.
Yeah.
But all right, well,
All
I
right,
guess
so
that's
join
about
us. Join us next time as we talk about the Iron Losers.
Losers.
old Peter Turbo.
See you next week. Yeah, see you next time, guys. Also, before we go, I'd like to thank everybody because we finally hit a milestone on the on the podcast, and I'd like to thank our viewers and everything because we hit 100 views on our last episode.
Yeah.
Woo!
And in the grand scale of YouTube stuff, it's like 100 views, that's nothing. But as a starting podcast, and you guys, 100 of you out there decided to pick us to listen to while you do whatever the hell it is you do, is a huge freaking just mind blow to us.
And especially because 27 of you are actually fucking like full-time like subscribers and everything.
Yeah.
So
27 out of 100 are people who we either know or know us in some way and has decided to follow. The other 73
is just random
just-
motherfuckers
are
that we
just-
don't even know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so thank you guys so much.
We love
for
you.
that.
Not in the Emperor's Children way, but we love you. Thank you so much.
You know what? You get us 100 more views, we'll love you the Emperor's Chosen way.
We get to 100 subs. I mean, we got to find something special to do. So
We'll figure out
We'll start thinking about that.
Yeah, definitely. But appreciate you guys being with us today and listening to us and dealing with our tangents, which just are they just come out of nowhere, honestly.
Yeah.
They're very organic tangents.
Yeah, that's true. And we'll see you next time when it comes. We move from flesh to iron. We see the
Iron within.
warriors.
Iron
Iron
within,
without.
iron without.
Stop. All right.
See you next week, guys.
See you next
See you then.
Hey there, guys. From all of us at the Serpents Lodge podcast, thank you so much for listening to the end of the podcast. It truly does mean the world to us. If you don't mind, and if you enjoy this content, why don't you go on ahead and follow us on Spotify, as well as subscribe and hit the notification bell on YouTube. We greatly appreciate that. And in the meantime, we'll catch you guys in the next episode.